Hello everyone, I'm Alex. Today, I won't tell you about work or business. I'll bring you a special feeling. The first time I brought Tuna, the important girl, to me, to visit my mother. The moment my mother saw us walk in, her eyes were brighter than ever. I know that my mother's joy does not lie in the achievements I have made out there, but simply in seeing me happy, having someone to share with. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell so you don't miss any interesting moments, giving me more motivation to share such meaningful stories. Let's start this journey full of love. Early that morning, when the sunlight was still lingering on the treetops, I was at the wood workshop to supervise the progress. The sound of saws, the sound of planing wood mixed with the pungent smell of pine resin made me suddenly quiet. Although work still took up every minute, in my head, memories of Tuna kept ringing about the journey I had gone through to have her by my side. Outsiders often think that I am a CEO. Everything I want is easy, but they do not know that, when standing in front of Tuna, I am a clumsy person, having to learn to be patient little by little. Tuna was not overwhelmed by my title or busyness. In fact, the label of CEO became a barrier. I still remember her serious eyes when she said, "You are so busy, can you really make time for me?" That question was like a knife cutting straight into my heart. In the hum of the woodworking machines that day, I seemed to hear back the days when I persistently texted but got no response, the dates that were rejected, and the moments when I wondered, am I sincere enough to overcome this distance? I learned to adjust myself. From someone who only knew how to plan and make decisions, I practiced being a good listener. I started to arrange my work to make time for her. I observed the little things, the way she frowned when she was tired, her habit of drinking tea in the evening, or her hobby of watching the rain alone. I remembered all of those things, and then step by step showed her that this feeling was not superficial. Once, I stood waiting in the rain just to meet Tuna, a few minutes after work. I told her, "I'm serious, and I won't give up." At that moment, I saw Tuna's eyes flicker, mixed with surprise and emotion. That was when I knew my efforts were paying off. Looking back, I realized it was those difficulties that made me appreciate Tuna even more, because this love did not come easily, but was the result of patience, of real changes in me. Standing in the middle of the noisy wood workshop that morning, I realized one thing even more. If I could overcome all those challenges to have Tuna, then nothing was more precious than bringing her home to meet my mother. Because that was not just a meeting, but a testament to a whole journey. While I was lost in memories of Tuna amidst the sound of saws and the smell of new wood, I suddenly heard a familiar voice. "Alex, what are you daydreaming about in the wood workshop? Isn't work enough to keep you occupied?" I looked up and saw Adam walking in. Adam's sudden appearance interrupted my thoughts and brought me back to reality. I burst out laughing and followed him to the back of the workshop. Right there was a large, open piece of land, still wild but very airy. I had bought it before, planning to build a house for Tuna. Not extravagant, just cozy, with a small garden and a balcony big enough for her to watch the sunset. Adam looked around and nodded. "That's beautiful. You're really serious." If Tuna knew, she would be very touched. I smiled and remained silent. At that moment, the image of Tuna appeared in my mind, her hair falling lightly in the afternoon sun, smiling while watching this scene. Just thinking about it, I felt relieved, believing that this decision was the right one. We stood there, chatting about many things. Adam suddenly mentioned the fruit shipment that the company had just exported, the first shipment to be certified as an international brand. "Do you remember how many times before it was rejected? Now it is finally recognized. And do you know why I am happier than the profit? Because this brand is not only ours, It is also the pride of many farmers who have devoted their whole lives to their homeland. Listening to Adam, I suddenly felt a sense of harmony. Just like my persistent pursuit of tuna, the journey to bring agricultural products to an international brand was not easy. I looked at the empty land ahead. There, I wanted to build not only a house, but also a promise. After seeing Adam off, I got in the car. The car rolled away from the workshop, but my mind was more confused than ever. The road to Tuna's house was not far, but that day felt like a lifetime. I kept thinking, how should I start by inviting Tuna and her child to my house? How should I say it naturally, not too forced, but also sincere enough for them to feel my respect? I repeated many scenarios in my head, starting with work, with the land I had just seen, or simply a straightforward invitation. The more I thought, the more nervous I felt, because I knew, if Tuna agreed, this would be an important turning point, the moment I had been waiting for. The car stopped in front of the gate. My heart suddenly beat faster. Tuna's small house appeared before my eyes, with an old tiled roof and bougainvillea trellis covering the path. That simple scene made me even more determined to accept the invitation that I had been thinking about the whole way. Tuna opened the door, still holding her child. Her eyes were slightly surprised when she saw me. I smiled, keeping my voice as calm as possible. I just came back from the woodwork shop, conveniently stopping by. Tuna, can you come to my house with the baby for a while? She was silent for a few seconds, then softly said, I'm afraid. Maybe it's not appropriate, Alex. I moved closer, looked straight into her eyes, and spoke, slowly but firmly. I want Mom to meet you and the baby. For me, this is not just a normal visit. I want everything to be clear. I want Mom to know that you are the person I truly cherish. You don't need to worry. Mom will be very happy. Tuna was slightly confused. I saw a bit of hesitation in her eyes, but also a flash of confidence. I reached out and gently took the baby from her arms. Let me help you carry the baby to the car. The moment I wrapped my arms around the baby, I felt a strange warmth spread. The baby looked at me with wide eyes, not crying, just smiling softly as if we had known each other for a long time. I looked up and caught Tuna's relieved smile. She nodded, as if she agreed without needing further explanation. So, the three of us walked out to the car. My heart was pounding, because I knew the moment I brought Tuna and the baby back to see their mother would be an unforgettable turning point in my life. When the door opened slightly, my mother was already standing there, as if she had sensed something. Before I could introduce myself, her eyes were fixed on Tuna and the baby she was holding. At that moment, time seemed to stop. My mother's smile lit up, her eyes filled with tears, mixed with surprise and happiness. She walked over, didn't ask me a single question, just gently touched Tuna's hand and then bent down to look at the baby, as if it was the most precious gift she had ever received in her life. I stood there, silently watching that scene. In my mother's eyes at that moment, it seemed like I no longer existed, the busy son who always thought he was the center of the family. Her whole world, at that moment, revolved around Tuna and the baby. My mother smiled, her voice trembling. Hello, son. Hello, thank you for coming. I saw Tuna blush, nod slightly. My mother reached out to take the baby, and in just a moment, 3 generations, my mother, Tuna, and the baby had become strangely attached. I took a step back, letting that scene unfold. In my heart, a happiness welled up, but mixed with a bit of bitterness. Was I now left out? My mother had found a new joy, a joy more complete than the success or fame I had ever brought home. But then, I suddenly realized, perhaps that was exactly what I had always wanted. To see my mother happy, to see Tuna and her child find a place in her heart. And for me, That joy was enough. I smiled, telling myself, even though there are many difficulties ahead, I will always be here. I will accompany you and the child, step by step.